What's up and welcome to a new update, and it's actually quite boring, but we're going to cover Bitcoin as we have been sweeping the lows. We're going to cover what we're watching right now to get your trades going. We're going to focus on Bitcoin solely in this very short update. The range is getting narrow and it's going to be a significant breakout, so that's what we're heading for. Before we're going to continue, make sure to subscribe beneath, like my YouTube video, check out my Twitter where you can find daily content and setups on the markets. And if you want to know more setups and my trading portfolio, check out the premium membership in the description beneath. If you want to learn and have a lower budget, check out the newsletter where I'm going to post my altcoin trading on Friday and on Monday and Wednesday. Also a newsletter is provided. When we're looking at the Bitcoin price action, we can definitely see that the volume is dropping down. There's absolutely no volume at all. The volatility is draining down too as we're just testing all the levels. And yesterday, for instance, we had a rejection at 30k and started dropping down towards 28.7. Coming out of a expected speech from Powell, we didn't see at all. We didn't get anything special out of it. But today it's going to be FOMC minutes, which is going to be an important one. And actually the coming few days will be relatively important and will be decisive on where the markets are going to go to. And we're going to look at that TA perspective. So what setup can you actually look at when it comes to trading Bitcoin at this point? And what are my expectations when it comes to the higher time frames if we are looking at the current structure? That's what we're going to discuss with the TA. So when we're looking at the overall structure of Bitcoin, we can conclude that we're still trending south, right? So when we're looking at the positions here, and if we look at the higher scope, we can start defining some very important levels to look at. First of all, we've got this clear rejection here at 45k, which ultimately resulted into a break beneath the range low, which can be derived here from 36 and 34.8k. So we drop beneath, and because of the fact that we have been dropping beneath the range low, we can also conclude that the critical resistance is this entire range that we have here. So if we're going to have any bounce upwards on Bitcoin at this point, it seems very likely that it will be towards the region that we have here, and we can't really break through it in one go. As it will be a reference point for people to start taking the profits, just like we have been seeing in previous structure. We broke beneath the range low here, rejected, and started falling south towards support here around 34k, bounce, and the first test of the resistance results into a correction all the way back towards the range low. If we're going to get the same, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a move towards 34.7 and then we start testing the low. And then the question will be whether we are going to sweep the low and confirm the bullish divergence that we could be getting here, or whether we are going to have a further fall down and continue this downtrend. And then you have to derive levels of importance on a higher time frame, which is 19.8k, which is 24k, and we also still have this block around 26k, which we have been bouncing from. If you ask me whether we are going to get towards the bottom and what levels we have to be watching, I think the bottom will be relatively somewhere here, in which we start going sideways for the coming months, in which we just have a structure where we will be hitting those entries and actually have a range which we can be using to trade approximately between 35% down and upwards, which is resulting into some serious accumulation overall. So in that case, if we look at the higher time frames and start zooming in a little bit more, we can also argue that we have been testing all the levels on the lower time frame with Bitcoin, in which ultimately this trend here is going to break out significantly, right? So we've got the range resistance, which is the one at 30.7k. We've got the support that we got here at 28.6, and we have been testing the lows. That is what we see here. A breakout of this trend is going to result into continuation, and as we have been concluding, the level that we have here around 34.8k is one to watch, and we also still have the one at 32.8, which we ultimately can see here. So if we are looking at the price action of Bitcoin on the lower time frames, we can see that we have been sweeping all the lows. We have been holding crucial support here again, right? So we have been holding here, in which the crucial resistance to breakthrough is also quite clear, which is this block here. In between, not really interested into many trades at all. If we get a drop down towards the area around 29.3, that could be a trigger for me to start looking for longs. And I think that 29.3 should be an area that we are holding. If we are making ourselves a lower high here and we are granting ourselves to test the support again, I'm going to look at 26k area or potentially first 28k, but definitely looking at 26k, as then I'm expecting that we're going to go down. If 29.3 is going to hold, that could be a long trigger, but overall, if we're looking at the price action in itself, if we get a breaker back up, so if we break above here, start consolidating here, that would definitely be a trigger for longs overall. And there you can assume that we might be getting a run of approximately 7 to 9% and maybe even 15% on Bitcoin before we get towards the next heavy resistance zones. So based on this, long entries are clear. You can look at a long entry at 30.5 and 29.3. You can defend yourself with risk easily as well. If we break beneath, a bearish rejection is going to be a short trigger in which we could continue towards 26.5. And if we get into any of these regions, those are going to be short entries too. So that is going to be the case. The question is, are we bottoming out? Have we bottomed out? We simply do not know at this point. It's going to be a critical question in which we probably are eager to have a little bit of momentum to the upside. And then the question will become, how fast are we going to drop again? Is there going to be a bigger shitstorm coming out of the Luna case? Is there going to be macroeconomics that are taking over again? For instance, the dollar is bouncing from a level that we have been watching. The question is the dollar going to reject at any of these points that we have here? If it's going to do that and we drop back down with the dollar, it's going to result into further downwards momentum on the dollar itself and probably a little bit more of momentum for the risk on assets, which is going to be suitable for a relief rally overall. So that's the update for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow with a fresh new update. Don't do stupid shit. Have a wonderful day. Subscribe to the newsletter or the premium membership. Ciao.